Hey everyone, in this video we're going to look at preparatory support material for Math 155. Specifically we're going to look at two areas. Number one, dividing out common factors, and number two, performing basic unit conversions involving length. Okay, fairly short video, but some fairly important material. So let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, so we're going to divide out some common factors. Now before we do these three problems, just as a reminder, you know, our fraction bar means divide. And as a rule, we're always going to take that numerator, the top value, and we're going to divide it by the bottom value. Okay? So basically what we're doing here, we can come at this a couple different ways. I'm actually going to show it to you a way that makes more sense, if you will. I think it will help you to understand this better. We're going to imply that there are exponents here. We're going to imply there are exponents, and we're going to deal with the rules for dividing exponents. Okay, it sounds maybe complicated, but once I draw this out, you'll see that perhaps this is the most simplistic way to remember how to do this. Okay, so what would I do if I were solving this problem here? Well, in this problem right here, just to understand what's going on, we could actually break this up into three fractions. Okay, we could break this up into this right here, okay, and we have nothing. If we don't have anything, we'll put a 1 there. Okay, we don't have anything because we want values on the numerator side and the denominator side. Okay, so what is going on here? Well, what we could do, what we should probably do is this. Okay, we're looking for, to simplify this fraction. When we're simplifying fractions, what are we doing? We're looking for values that will divide evenly into both. Multitude of ways of doing this. You guys have seen me do this many times, but basically we're looking for the largest number that will divide into both. A simplistic way, just as a refresher, is to take your smallest number. Why? Because it's the smallest number, and list the numbers that you can multiply to arrive at that number. Those are called your factors. 1 is a factor, 4 is a factor, 2 is a factor of 4. Well, these numbers here will multiply into 4, will also divide into 4. Okay, so all of these numbers will divide into 4. We're looking for any of them that will also divide into 20. Well, right out of the gate, we're going to always go down this way first, turn the corner, and go up if we don't find anything going that way. And if we arrive at 1 being the only number that divides into the numerator and denominator, we know the fraction's already simplified. But here we see 4 will divide into both. So 4 divided by 4 obviously gives us 1. Okay, and 20 divided by 4 obviously gives us 5. Now, here is, we'll do it two ways. We'll do it two ways. I'm going to do it with exponents first. We can imply anything is to the first power. And anytime you're dividing with exponents, you're going to see this fraction bar as a big minus sign. Okay, 1 minus 1, basically they're canceling each other out, so they're gone. Okay, and then all you have left over here is, these are all times, okay, because they're right next to each other. They all mean multiply. Okay, so now we have 1 times 1. This is gone, and we have 5 times n. So we end up with a final solution of 1 over 5n. An alternative way you could do this, and I'll be honest with you, I actually think it's more difficult. Maybe it's my bias. I don't know. It's just my preference, if you will. You could go anything divided by anything is 1, and you could just make that, this value here, you could have made that a 1 as well, in which case you'd end up with the same value. It's better, I think, especially if you're going into more mathematics. You're going into some algebra-based mathematics. This will be helpful. If not, well, don't worry about it. Because if we had something like, let me show you why this would be important, the way I'm showing you here. Let's say you had n to the third being divided by n to the second. Okay. What we can do is we see this as a big subtraction sign as well. We know it means divide, but anytime we're dividing exponents, we also see it as subtraction. Well, 3 divided by 2 is what? 3 divided by 2 is 1, so it simply becomes n. So our answer is n. Okay. Anyway, well, I showed you that way. I'll show you the standard way for the rest of them. Anyway, so here we're going to break this out. We can break this out as the 2 over 7 times, or 70, sorry. Missed a 0 there, times A over A times B over B. Okay, So we can do that. And here again, we're looking for a common denominator. Well, 2 will go into a common factor. 2 will go into both. 2 will divide into itself 1 time. 2 will divide into that 35 times. All right. And then a divided by a, well, they're going to cancel each other out. They're going to cancel each other out. There's your final solution. There's your final solution. Okay. And lastly here, we can see this one as w over w times y over x times z over z. Your w's are going to cancel each other out. 1 minus 1 is 0. They're going to cancel each other out. What are we left with? We're left with y over x. That is our final solution. And why are they canceling each other out? Remember, fraction bar means divides, top divided by bottom. 1 of something divided by 1 of something is 1 of something. You know, we could say, okay, well, that's 1. Well, we could go 1 times y over x times 1. Well, 1 times something is something, and times itself again is something. So basically, we just say they cancel each other out. Okay? You multiply something times 1, you have what you started with. All righty, last slide here. We're going to do some conversion of measures of length. We're going to convert each measure to the unit requested, round to 2 decimal places when required. And some going knowledge, some information we have to know going into this, if you will, is that 1 foot is 12 inches, a yard is 3 feet, a mile is 5,280 feet. So your Math 155 instructor, I'm sure, will talk about a multitude of ways to do this. I'm going to show you a very simplistic equation that you can set up, and you can always do conversions, no matter what unit it is. Meters, inches, pounds, grams, doesn't matter. This equation I'm about to show you will work with any conversion. You'll be able to convert from anything to anything else. Now, you can't convert from pounds to quarts. Okay, it has to be in the same, it has to be mass, capacity, length, etc. You can't convert 6 inches into 12 pounds. You can't do that. But converting length measures into other length measures, converting weight measures into other weight measures, converting one capacity, a quart, maybe into a liter, you can do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take what we know. We're going to say 19 yards. Abbreviation for yards is YD. And we're going to make it a fraction. So we're going to take what we know always and make it a fraction. Times, and again, whatever our unit of measure, that's how we would label that. That's our unit of measure. Whatever is our unit of measure here in our numerator becomes our unit of measure in our denominator. So the unit of measure we're trying to find is always going to be in the numerator on the top side over here. On the right side of the equation we're setting up, there's always going to be a number 1. Okay, and this is the only problematic part about this equation, but it's really not with wonderful things like Google and such available at our fingertips today. We have to know which one of these is larger. Which is larger, a foot or a yard? Well, a foot is 12 inches, a yard is 3 feet, so a yard is 36 inches. So a yard is bigger. Okay, a yard is bigger. We always put the 1 with the larger unit. So a yard is bigger than a foot. And then we simply ask ourselves, okay, in 1 yard, how many feet are there? In 1 yard, how many feet are there? Well, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So we do that. And then we multiply. Well, these yards here are going to cancel each other out. And then we get 19 times 3, which I believe is 57. Okay, we'll check my arithmetic here real quick. You know me in arithmetic, 3 times 19, yeah, it is 57. Okay, and then 1 times 1 is 1, so simply 57 feet. Okay, so in 19 yards, there are 57 feet. All right, let's do the same thing with this next one. All right, so we're going to take what we've got here and we're going to make it a fraction. 57.1 feet, make it a fraction, times, again, whatever our unit of measure is here becomes our unit of measure here. So whatever our numerator unit of measure is here, feet, becomes our denominator over here. And the one we're trying to find is always going to be in the numerator. And then we simply ask the question, which is larger, a foot or an inch? Well, a foot is. There's 12. It takes 12 inches to make 1 foot. So we always put the 1 with the larger unit of measure. In 1 foot, how many inches are there? There are 12. Okay, so we're going to multiply. The feet are going to cancel each other out. So we're going to go, let's see here, 57.1 times 12. there are, and let's see, there would be 685.2 inches. This is now in inches over 1, or simply 685.2 inches. That would be our final answer. Okay. All right, lastly, we're going to take 4.05 miles and turn that into feet. Again, we'll take what we know, we'll make it a fraction. 4.05 miles, abbreviation for miles is commonly MI, divided by 1, or put it over 1, excuse me, times, and again, whatever our unit of measure is here in our numerator becomes our unit of measure over here in our denominator. So the unit we're always trying to find is going to be in our numerator. Okay, so then we ask ourselves the question, which is larger, a mile or a foot? Well, we're told up here that a mile takes 5,280 feet to make 1 mile. So obviously a mile is larger. All right, in 1 mile, how many feet? Well, 5,280. Okay, now we just simply do the math. We multiply. The miles are going to cancel each other out when we do so. All right, so we got 1 on the bottom, and here we've got 4.05 times 5,280. There are 21,384 feet, and we know the 1 would go away. So there are 21,384 feet in 4.05 miles. This process will work for any conversion, folks. This little equation here. It'll work in the metric system. It'll work converting between the metric system and the English system. For example, let's do this one. Let's say we've got I don't know, 37 centimeters. 37 centimeters, and we want to convert that to inches. Okay, we want to convert that into inches. Well, there is a common conversion out there. We know that, let's just go ahead and set it up. We'll talk about the conversion in a minute. We could take 37 centimeters, make it a fraction, times, again, unit of measure here goes here. And we're going to convert into inches. So we're going from between two different measurement systems. This process will work. So we have to determine which is larger. Which is larger. So we go out there and do some Googling, and we find out, oh, by the way, an inch is larger. So we always put the one with the larger unit. And we go do some more Googling. We find out that in a centimeter there is exactly, and this is rare, but there are exactly 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So then we do the multiplication. These will cancel each other out. 37 times 1 is 37. 1 times 2.54 is 2.54. And to further simplify this, we know that we'll do what? We'll take that top value. Fraction bar means divide it by the bottom. Okay, so we'll go 37 divided by 2.54. And we'll round this to 2 decimal places. So we'll say the answer is approximately, and this is converting to inches now. We're turning in the centimeters into inches. This is approximately 14.57 inches. So 37 centimeters would be approximately 14.57 inches. Okay? So again, this equation, take what you know, make it a fraction. Multiply it. Again, whatever your unit is here goes here. The unit you're finding is always going to go up top. There's always going to be a number 1 on the right side of the equation. The 1 always goes with a larger unit of measure. Again, you may have to Google that if you don't know it off the top of your head. And then you ask yourself, in that 1 unit, how many of the other thing do I have? Okay, and then you just do the math. Okay, your unit of measures here will cancel each other out. The reason they cancel each other out is this. This is sometimes not as obvious as folks think it is. 37 centimeters. We can just make this one big fraction bar. Okay, over 1 times 1, 2.54 centimeters. We know that things that are alike, top and bottom, cancel each other out. Okay, they cancel each other out. That's why it's canceling itself out. So here we're left with 37 over 2.54. My pen's dying. All right, same as we had before. So that's why they cancel out, to see the visual of why they cancel out. All right, folks. That's it. Thanks.